Hello friends, are you facing difficulty to understand the concept outcomes of democracy? As per my knowledge, the problem of lack of understanding about outcomes of democracy is ideas like freedom and justice are hard to visualize comparing to real life and as per the law. Then lack of background knowledge about the civic life. Boring teaching methodology as continued by the teachers. Or real life disconnect. What learned does not match with the what we see in the society. Difficult vocabulary like transparency, accountable, responsive, social outcome, political outcome. These are the new for you grade 10 students. And some students have a limited critical thinking knowledge. Because of these reasons, you are not able to grab properly about this content. Now, I'll try to make you how to understand easy and with clarity. The part 1 outcomes of democracy, we are going to discuss political outcome, first topic in the part 1. In the second part, economic outcomes. Third part, social outcomes. Total, I made this video into 3 parts. So, in first part, generally we have a question that when we observe real life and government role, it may mismatch to our expectations. First topic, we are going to discuss meaning of democracy. These are the key words which I display in the mind map. Why democracy is better than other form of governments, and what are the merits of democratic form of government. Then over worldwide there is a more support to the democracy, why it is. Then it is a people's own government. So on this major 5 topics, in the first slide we are going to discuss. Here there are some questions which are given in the board examination in the previous years. Let me discuss one after one. First topic, how do we assess democracy? There are the key insights based on this. First, we know the meaning of democracy. It is a broad concept. It is not possible to understand within the 1 or 2 days. So when we are comparing with our real life and political life, that comparison will give a clarity about the democracy. As of the word defines, it is derived from the Greek word demos plus kratos. Demoskratia. Demoskratia means the power of people or rule of people. It is a form of government which is ruled by the people either directly or indirectly. Directly, through the elections, we are going to elect our leaders. Some of the countries, there are some countries which they elect the leaders, representatives. Example, India is a representative democracy. What is called representative democracy? The democracy which is organized by the leaders are elected by people. Means indirectly the people are ruling in the country. Then how can we say that democracy is better than other form of government? There are several reasons. First reason, it promotes equality among the citizens. It promotes. In what way it is promoting equality? Can we have any example? There is one example, that right to vote, irrespective of gender, caste, religion, place or birth. The right to vote is given to all citizens. Equality among the citizens. That is called as a rule of law. All are equal before law. As per Constitution, Article number 14 says all are equal before law. Then second reason supporting to democracy is better, that enhances the dignity and of individuals. Dignity means, here we can understand dignity meaning is respect of individuals. Then third reason, it improves the quality of decision making. How it will improve the quality of decision making? So when the government is passing the laws, there are some negotiations, deliberations, even debates are going to held. Even sometimes people may protest against the government decision. So when government is going to take a decision or making laws, they will go with the careful negotiations. That's why the decisions is making in the democracy is very qualitative. So next reason, it provides the method of resolving the conflicts. Because already in first chapter you studied horizontal power sharing, that check and balance of powers with the three organs: legislative, executive, judiciary. So if any one organ is going to against the constitution, other organs may check and control. This is what called method of resolving the conflict, and allows room or mechanism to correct its mistakes. What is called mechanism? Mechanism in the sense, the organs, legislative, executive, judiciary, whatever it is there, whether these organs are going to function properly or not. It also addresses the socio-economical political problems. It provides accountable, responsive, legitimate government. Let me discuss these three terms in the next slide clearly: accountable, responsive, and legitimate. And it is a best suited to accommodate social diversity. Means it allows diversity in the country, right? Culture, traditions, whatever it may be, it is allowing to suitable to settle everyone. And it allows to dignity and freedom of individual citizens. Then democracy has ability to generate own supports among the people. How can it supports itself own? So there are set of rules and regulations which are constitution prescribed. So with that, the democracy itself is going to protect and support, generate the support among the people. It is a people's own government because it is elected by the people and run by the people. Any other form of governments like dictatorship don't have any these kind of values. That's why democracy is better than other form of government. There are few questions in the previous years that how are the democratic government is better than other form of government, justify the statement. Same question, different way they given in the exam in 2016. Democracy is better form of government than other form of governments, analyze the statement. Just previously there is a justify and analyze. So next question, second, describe any 5 characteristics of democracy. Characteristics, whatever these 5 characteristics, first 5 which is given in your textbook, that is enough answer. And when is democracy considered successful? How can we measure the democracy is a successful or not? How can we assess? This is what the question is given in 2016. And state any 3 merits of democracy. Merits in the sense all these are the features is a merits of democracy. So now when we go through the principles of democracy merits, we have a advantage to see that democracy is successful. But are these expectations realized under the democracy? There is a question. There is no guarantee. But so many of people would be satisfied with the democracy in the world. So far, we face a dilemma in democracy. It is seen to a good in the principle, but too bad in the practice. So what does it mean good in the principle? Means The set of rules and regulations is looking like a good, it allows, but when we implementing all these set of rules and regulations, it is a too difficulty to organize that. So do we prefer democracy only for moral reason, or there are some prudential reasons to support democracy too? What is moral reason, what is prudential reason, already we discussed in the chapter federalism. So just prudential means which is judiciously, right? So let me go with the next slide. Why the democracy is supported by more in the worldwide. So it has many merits. It makes popular form of government. People find the only government which can be called people's own government. No other form of government can be people's own government. People's runs government. The evidence of the South Asia shows that democracy has its own support in democratic as well as non-democratic regimes in the China and Korea examples. So people wish to be ruled with the representative elected by them and think that democracy is suitable for their country. Of course, most of the countries are following democracy, but all democracies are not similar. In principles are similar, but success outcomes are maybe varied one country to another. Outcomes are very different. Why it is different? Let me go with the one more slide. Common features of democracy. What are the major common features? Overall worldwide, there are more than 100 countries are following democracy. Every country have a common features. It has a formal constitution, set of rules and regulations. Every country conducting periodical elections based on their country regular elections, and every country have a political parties. Political parties itself form the government in any democracy. Then it gives to fundamental rights to the citizens. So what are the factors affecting achievement of democracy outcomes? Whether it is achieved or not, social outcome, economical outcome, and cultural outcomes. Then merits. Every democracy have some merits and demerits. What are these merits? Let me go with the clear explanation. Common features of democracy. These are the four major common features which is commonly practiced in the democracy. There are factors which are affecting social factors and economical factors which democracy achieve outcome. Generally people may expect something from the democracy. The expect itself called as outcome. So what we expect? Here there are three major outcomes: political outcomes, economic outcomes, and social outcomes. In the political outcome, how government is accountable, how it is a responsive government or legitimate government. Then economic outcomes, economic growth of the country and development of the country, how it is achievable. Then social outcome, reduction of inequalities and poverty, social issues. So these are major problems which are present in the worldwide. It is focused in the chapter outcomes of democracy. Let's go first political outcomes. In political outcomes, there are three major terms, that is accountable government, what is called accountable, responsive government, and legitimate government. Before going to that, some of our expectations are not met. We start blaming the idea of democracy itself. Even we start doubting if we are living in a democracy or not. The citizens have to take advantages of these conditions and achieve their goals. Even they are living in the democracy, they are achieving their goals, they are living with the peace and harmony. Even we have a doubt whether democracy is right going well or not. So whenever our expectations is not fulfilled, we blame the democracy. This is what a common nature of society. How people practice in the decision making. right? So all these are the major doubts which we have even we are living in the democracy. If we discuss clearly about the political outcomes, that doubts may clarified. An accountable government. What is an accountable government? Right? So there are key words which are accountable. What is meaning of accountable? Accountable means a government that is responsible to the people, follows set of rules and can be questioned by the people. This is what called accountable. So when the people are questioning, the government has to answer. That is what called accountable government. Then there is one more keyword, transparent government. What is called transparency? Citizens have right to ask and means to find out and examine the decisions making by the government, how they are taking. They wanted to know it. So then this allows to know how the decisions are making. Decision process is followed by the government. So government is need to be give information how they are passing the decisions. This is what called transparency. There is no hide. So the government should not hide any information from out of the people. There are three major: legitimate, rule of law, and responsive government. These three, let me focus clearly. I hope you are getting point to point. Now, what is called accountable government? It is a most basic outcome of democracy, which is a political outcome, political equality. People have right to choose their leaders. How they are choosing? By periodical elections, and exercise control over the rulers. This is what the controversial doubt in the real life the students may get, that when we observe in the society, rulers will dominate over a society, right? The rulers will dominate the society, but here it is mentioned that the people will control the rulers. How does it possible? Just election itself a process which will control the people. Election every 5 years once, when it is going to held, the government rulers and representatives have a fear to lose in elections in the next term. Because of that, they are not going to go for against the democracy. That's what called as a control over the rulers. Then people should be involved in the decision making. How the people are going to part of decision making? Generally we see all the laws are made by the parliament and assemblies. We are not part of the decision making. But here it is mentioned the people are involved in the decision making. How it is possible? This is what the problem of difficulty in understanding the concept of outcomes of democracy. So if we compare real life to book knowledge, that is controversial. That's why it is a topic is difficult. Now I'll clearly explain you people how the people are going to involve in the decision making. First, in the process of elections, the people are going to decide to whom they wanted to vote. So what kind of government they want, that is what called their decision. Then they also, the people are participating in the referendums. Of course the referendum system is not present in India. There is a UK, European countries, some of the countries are followed referendum systems, on the spot voting system on the decisions of government. Then next, joining the political parties. The people are joining in the political parties, itself part of decision making. Then even the people participate in the public debates and discussions. Even the people participate in the movements, protest against the government policies. So this also decides the involvement of decision making by the people. Even there is a public interest litigation bills also going to file in the Supreme Court or any other courts. Even RTI, right? RTI, Right to Information Act, RTI. This also a part of people's participation in the decision making. I hope it's clear. Then the norms and procedures should be followed in the decision making. So whenever the political accountable, the government has to follow the norms and procedures. which is mentioned in the constitution. So without that norms and procedures, the government do not have a right to take any decision. Then what is transparency? There is a word, transparent government. The citizen should have to right to know and means to find out, examine the process of decision making. It is called as a transparency. A clear definition here. The decisions taken process may be slower in the democracy compared to the non-democratic government, but the delay is compensated by more worthy and correct and suitable decisions. Of course, the decisions may be slow. For example, if you take Article 370, years and years, even there are the laws which is passed recently, GST, long process but worthy and correct and suitable decisions. The government should develop a mechanism for citizens to hold the government accountable. Means the government itself arranging the mechanism to hold the government accountable. That is what called administrative departments. It is a right to expect a democracy to produce a government to follow its accountable to the people. So these are the major points which is related to how government is accountable, right? Then before we go to into this question, we face another common question is that is the democratic government efficient or effective? This is what called dilemma. As per the form of set of rules and regulations, it look like a fair, but is it effective or efficient? How can we decide? Right? Let me discuss in the next slide. There are some questions based on the accountable government in the previous years 2016, 17, 12 and 19. Describe the importance of the democratic government as an accountable and legitimate government. Explain the meaning of transparency in democracy. Just I hope 2 marks question. Examine the political outcome of democracy. That is what all these points are comes under political outcomes. How can a democracy produce an accountable, responsive? Means all 3 political outcomes we need to take the points. Democratic government is a practice or known as accountable. Support the statement. So how democracy is accountable? All these are the points related to accountable. Clear? Then next, coming to second, responsive government. There are 2 ways. Responsive government, positive expectations and negative aspects. In responsive government, there is a positive. It is attentive to the needs of the people. These are the major keywords you need to focus while you are presenting the answer. Free of corruption. Generally, we expect the free of corruption in the democracy. And listen to grievances. Grievances is that people's problems or people's demands. This is what called grievances. Then negative aspect in the responsive government is that frustrated. Sometimes the government is frustrated. These are the keywords. Ignores the majority of people will and not free from the corruption. Now go with the detailed explanation how the democracy is called responsive government. It is expected from the democracy chart. The government is attentive to the needs of the demands of the people. Attentive means it should address the people's needs and demands. That is what called attentive. Then government is largely free from the evil of democracy. Evil is in the sense corruption, right? And malpractices should not be present in the democracy. People should feel that listen to their grievances. Means government need to be addressed properly whatever they need. The needs of the people called as grievances should be addressed by the government. This is what called it's expect of the democracy by the people. But in the record, democracy is not impressive. Why it is not impressive? That's just now we have a question that whether it is democracy government is effective or efficient or not. So effective, efficient, so not impressive. Why? Because democracies often frustrate the needs of the people, ignores the needs of the people, even ignores the demand of the majority community. The majority needs are going to ignored, like major problem like poverty, housing. These are majority needs. Democracies are not free from the corruption, because we are seeing in the news channels there is a scams, corruptions, right? Always followed by the political parties and governments. The questions on this responsive government. 3. It may be responsible from a democracy government that is attentive to the needs and demands of the people, is largely free from the free of corruption. Explain the statement with the points. Then, how is democratic government is known as a responsive government? Explain with examples. Right? The next question, how is the democracy accountable and responsive to first political outcome and second political outcome? Togetherly we have to present the answer. There is a third outcome which we called as a legitimate government. Political outcome, third one, legitimate government. Legitimate. So it is a rule of law, people's own government. These are the major key points. People's, right, form a power of a constitution, may be slow but better decisions, generates its own support. How it is going to generate own support, let me discuss in the topic of legitimate government. And representation by the elected officials. How the democracy is a legitimate. What is called legitimate? Legitimate meaning is in the sense it is a lawful government as per set of rules and regulations which is followed by the government. The democratic government is legitimate because ultimately it's people's own government. The people's will is going to run in the government. Rule of law is possible. Rule of law is applicable in the equal to all citizens. All are equal before law, irrespective of gender, caste, creed or religion. All powers are drawn from the constitution. The government does not have a separate powers which is already given in the constitution as set of rules and regulations, as centralist to state list to concurrent list. That's it. Beyond that, no government will perform. If any government is performing beyond this constitutional powers, that government can be dissolved. The democratic government may be slow or less efficient, not always responsive or clear, but still it is better than other form of government, because somewhat the people's demands are going to fulfilled in the democracy itself. People wish to be ruled by representative elected by them. Democracy itself generates support for its, which makes its most popular form of government. These are the major legitimate government related to points. So how it is possible to government is legitimate? Because it arrange its mechanism to organize all the things in the smooth way. This is what called political outcomes of government. Then in the next slide, let me discuss in economic outcome. In part 2, let me discuss economic outcomes of democracy. Thank you.